Hey ladies, happy Friday. Joining for, or coming before you, should I say, for your MIT training video for the week to provide you your motivation, inspiration, and transformation. I want to talk about something real, as I normally do. And one thing I know is that a lot of you are praying for love, right? You're ready for your happily ever after when it comes to a relationship, your person, your good thing. But what I do know is that all too often we overlook a lot of the pain that we have been carrying. Listen, I know that you have been faithful in prayer. You've done devotionals. You've maybe even declared this year will be my year to find love, or maybe at the end of every year saying this is my last year being single. I'm declaring it by faith. But if you still have any unhealed pain, any unresolved trauma, if you have any issues that are still running your heart, you are going to keep finding yourself in the same cycles. So for this, I want to talk about healing before happily ever after, why trauma must end before love can begin. And what I want to do in this video is I'm going to show you why healing isn't optional, right? Like I know it's one of those things where a lot of women, they think, oh, their issues aren't too big, or they really just feel like there are no issues, there really is no pain, there is nothing that's affecting them, and they think that they're good to go, and it's why that they're still out here dating and frustrated, single and frustrated, coming across the same kind of men and frustrated, waiting on God and frustrated, all of these things. But if you try ignoring healing, right? If you're refusing to start the healing journey, if you're refusing to deal with your past, what you're going to learn is it's okay. You can sit there and pray all day and, talk about how you want a healthy, God-centered love, a God-centered relationship, a happy, healthy, holy relationship. But if you have not truly healed, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to actually get what it is you really, really want. So this is why I say healing isn't optional, and that's what I want to speak on. And I also want to talk about how taking those steps will completely change your dating life. There is a trap of unhealed trauma, right? Of past pains and things like that. And I know I spoke about it in last week's training video as well as last week's podcast episode, if I'm not mistaken. But I've been repeating how trauma is more than just big events. A lot of times it's the little unaddressed wounds that shape how you see yourself and also how you let men treat you, okay? Unhealed trauma teaches you to kind of confuse dysfunction with destiny. And what I mean by that is you can end up finding yourself in a relationship. You got all the butterflies in the beginning because you really want that person to be your person and to be the one. You will overlook many different red flags. You're going based off of how you feel, and you're thinking it's because of how that man is making you feel. You're feeling something that you've always wanted to feel, and you will end up not even realizing that as the time goes on and there are the little yellow flags and the inconsistencies and things that you're trying to store away, that is why you will end up confusing a lot of that dysfunction with destiny. You'll end up thinking that that man is the man for you, and you'll even try to do everything in your power to make it work because you don't want to start over. You want him to be your destiny. I have been there before. I've been in a relationship where I was like, okay, this guy is different than the last guy. He was checking so many good boxes. I was overlooking a lot of the major boxes. Make no mistakes. We have this tendency where we sometimes focus on the negatives and what's missing, and we don't realize exactly how good we have it. But in my situation, that was not the case. I was allowing the good things to make me completely overlook the negative things for so long, right? A lot of the things that were major, even though it's like, it's kind of like the good outweighed the bad if we were going to look at pros versus cons, but the weight of the negatives, the weight of the cons were showing me that I was about to start settling in dysfunction. I was confusing dysfunction with destiny. A lot of times it'll end up, you will find yourself being in a relationship or being in a situationship where it convinces you to normalize red flags because you've seen them before. You'll even start questioning yourself or even telling yourself, hey, maybe this is normal. Maybe all men are like this. Maybe this is something I can't escape. So let me just accept this person for who he is. Trauma will even have you over spiritualizing relationships. It'll have you praying about a man while ignoring the fact completely that he's not consistent, he's not committed, he is not aligned with you, your value system, and your vision. These are all the traps of unhealed trauma. This is why you can get caught up in a situation. You can end up finding yourself dealing with the man for a year or even several years, not even realizing that you all are not aligned. This is why I am so big on healing and doing the inner work and really facing certain things, and then having a vision, then getting clear on who you are, what you want, what kind of guy would fit that, what those deal breakers are, the whole nine. It's interesting because I'll say maybe like over the past month or something like that, I've actually been a little bit more active on TikTok, which is something I really don't do. Like, I know people will find it hard to believe. I really don't care to be behind a web camera and actually do videos, but I said I was going to start doing that just to reach more people. Being over there and doing videos and talking about a lot of these things have caused my calendar to just like explode. I've been so booked and busy, as a lot of people like to say, and I've been talking to dozens, and when I say dozens, I mean like dozens of women in August alone, who all pretty much had the same thing. They came across a video, they realized they were ready to break the patterns and the cycles. We would get to talking, and it was one of those things where they had just gotten out of something with someone that they were dealing with for years. Literally, it took years of them actually being with that guy to finally realize, I've had enough. I deserve better. He is not going to change, or we were not aligned. And like I said, so unhealed trauma will have you stuck in those cycles of dysfunction, trying to make it work with someone it was never even supposed to work with. In my book, In No More Lonely Nights, and I know I even had shared a picture of this, if I'm not mistaken, but I kind of showed like how I have a chapter that is actually called the Relationship Worthiness Test, and I want to ensure that women know how to really check to see, am I being wise here? Does this man really check the boxes? Does this relationship currently show that it is worth proceeding, right? Because I do that because I know that a lot of women, they talk about their faith, they talk about their relationship with God, they talk about what they're not going to accept, they talk about their worth and everything, but they'll find themselves still in a relationship or dealing with a man where they're ignoring his character, ignoring the communication, ignoring how he's not consistent, all of these things, because you can end up wanting something so bad and not even realizing that that deep desire for something to work out is actually an indication that there is something from your past you have not healed from and actually dealt with. You don't keep choosing the wrong men by accident, okay? Trauma and unhealed pain is actually doing the choosing, and until you confront it, you will repeat it. Healing is non-negotiable. Healing is something you have to do, okay? Like, it is something that there's just no debate. And again, I know that the word healing gets tossed out a lot. I know trauma gets overused, and I know that those are things I talk about a lot. But of course, it's because this is my area of expertise, and I know how it's been affecting women. But if all of us are honest, if the majority of us are honest, we can really look back and really, really go deep and think about our household, our upbringing, and all of these things. I'll say this, when I have women who come to me for coaching and for dating coaching and things like that, once we start talking about their household, once we, and what I always do with all of my clients, the very first session is dump session. Like, just give me a rundown, tell me everything, as far as your upbringing, your past relationships, what it is you want. I just let them talk for an hour. And from there, I can actually devise a plan. And once we actually start getting into it, once we start doing the work, and I get to asking them certain questions and presenting certain things to them, they didn't even realize how their parents' relationship affected them. They did not realize how the relationship with their mother has affected them. They did not realize how the relationship with their father affected them. They did not realize how those things dictated how they actually dated and did relationships. So there's always going to be something there's always going to be something present that healing needs to actually take place for. And again, I say that for me, because I can tell based off of the content that I put out and the responses that I get and the enrollments that I get and the DMs that I get just based off content alone, that tells me exactly what my women are dealing with. It tells me what these ladies and what a lot of you have faced in the past, and you don't even realize the connection between it all. I love Hebrews 12:5, where it says, "See to it that no root of bitterness grows up to cause trouble and defile many." Bitterness is like a poison. When you have wounds from your father, when you have things that your ex did, when you can think about the men who have actually hurt you, when you can think about how the relationships panned out, it does something to your heart. There are so many women who are very bitter and they are broken and they are angry. They have all of these different emotions, and it's because of how their past has gone, and I get it. But I always say, if you don't work on those things, you don't realize it is a poison that is slowly killing you. It doesn't just stay inside of you, it spills into your relationships. And you have to heal and do the work and decide you're going to go forward, like Philippians 3:13 even tells us, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. You can't strain forward if your grip is still on yesterday, if your grip is still on what happened to you, if your grip is still on who neglected you, who rejected you, who abandoned you, and who didn't choose you. You can't strain forward if you still have a hold on all of those things. That grip is what breeds bitterness, and you want to make sure that you are truly serious about doing something about it. There are patterns of self-sabotage that take place. And I'm sure many of you can relate to a lot of these patterns. And again, I've spoken on these things before, and I will continue to speak on it. So you're just going to have to get tired of it until you actually do something about it. But when you think about the over-giving, the people-pleasing, being a pushover, keeping your mouth shut because you don't want to cause conflict, keeping your mouth shut because you don't know if it's going to be received, keeping your mouth shut because you don't want to be rejected, keeping your mouth shut because you don't want to come off like you're asking for too much, staying in situationships because you're afraid of being alone, giving that guy chance after chance, even after blocking his number and everything else, but then allowing him to come back in because you're hoping he's going to change for you. You're hoping he's going to get it together for you. Realizing that you want something godly, knowing that you're abstinent, even though this man is coming at you and is every so often making little sexual comments and innuendos, but kind of overlooking it in hopes that he'll, realize and accept whatever. No, that is a pattern. Believing that a man's love will fix what only God and intentional healing can do, that is a pattern of self-sabotage. Or believing that your love will fix that man and heal him and do what only God and intentional healing can do. You are not any man's savior, okay? You're not. And this happens a lot with those who have unhealed wounds and unhealed pain. I want you to break all generational cycles. Because the thing is, you have to realize that what you're wrestling with, oftentimes, more than likely, it did not even start with you. It started with your mother's wounds. It started with your grandmother's pain. And as Black women, it even ties back to historical trauma like post-traumatic slavery syndrome. But the thing is, God came. He sent his son for you to be healed. He sent his son for you to be free. He sent his son for you to have an abundant life. He sent his son for you to actually thrive in relationships and win at love. You don't have to carry any of those things forward. Matter of fact, trying to carry it forward is going to be the reason why you don't experience that happily ever after. And make no mistake, okay? I know that being in a relationship or getting married is not the end all be all. It is not all about just getting a man. But I work with women who want a man. They want companionship. They want a relationship. They want to be married one day. So I'm going to do what God called me to do and make sure that these women know their purpose. They have a relationship with God. They have a healthy life right now, even in their single season. And yes, that they know how to date according to their morals and values as a Christian woman, that they also know what it takes to be in a happy, healthy relationship, and that they also have the foundation for what a godly marriage is going to look like. So I want you to be well all across the board. This is why I always talk about that 3D ladder, right? You got to start off with dwelling in God's love, developing self-love so that you can discover real love. It's time to heal. You want to get to a certain place, you want to discover real love, then no, healing is not just about you. Healing is going to be for your future relationship. It's going to be for your future partner. It's going to be for your future husband. Healing is also about breaking the cycles for the women who are going to come after you. Think about your daughter. Think about your granddaughter. All of these things. Let's break the cycles that we are just a part of solely because of generations, solely because of the families that we have been born into. When you decide to heal, you are going to unlock 4 major things. Okay, let's talk about those and then I'm off of here. Healing is going to unlock restored self-worth. When you truly take the time to face your past and think about all the pains that you have buried deep. I remember speaking to a woman before, and I think I've spoken about this before, but I remember speaking to a woman. Actually, it was one of my, it was my daughter's teacher. My daughter was actually, she went through a period in middle school where she started acting out and showing her butt in many different ways. And I remember when the teacher had actually reached out, she knew that I was a single mom. She knew I had a lot going on at that time. And, you know, we were just talking and I was like, oh, okay, well, let me just give you insight as to why my daughter is the way that she is and just, you know, why her behavior might be this way. And, you know, just to try to explain, not to, you know, coddle and make excuses, but I wanted the teacher to have an idea because I respected the fact that she came to me. So I just started rattling things off and how life had been for my daughter over the past several years and all the things that she had gone through, we had gone through, family dynamics the whole time. And it's like after I said all of those things, I couldn't figure out like why the teacher was quiet for so long. She was like, Miss Baxter, you just rattled all of those things off like you were telling me what it is you're cooking for dinner tonight. She's like, there was no emotion. She's like, you didn't have any emotion. She's like, do you realize how much trauma is packed into everything that you said? I didn't. I absolutely didn't. Not at all. And it's crazy because it's like I knew that my daughter had been through a lot of things and that she had been through a lot of trauma, but it's like I never identified it as trauma. I never used the word trauma, right? So it was all of these things that my daughter had actually gone through. Trauma affects us in so many ways. It affects the way that we view ourselves. It affects the way that we value ourselves. It affects our actions. It affects our behaviors. And when you have all of these things, yes, it is going to diminish your self-worth. But when you decide to heal, you are actually going to restore your self-worth. Okay? You are no longer going to compromise just to feel loved. You are no longer going to accept certain things just so that a man does not walk away. You're going to have a completely different view of yourself and your self-worth when you truly get serious about healing. So again, I mentioned all those things about my daughter because a lot of times we have all of these things that we don't even realize are affecting us. The second thing that healing is going to unlock, new boundaries. When you heal, you're going to have new boundaries that are going to lead you to protecting your heart instead of handing it out too soon. Because see, when you haven't healed, you lack boundaries. A lot of women, it's like they secretly have these things that they desire or they want to see take place in a relationship or that they don't want to see, but it's like they're not really serious about enforcing them. And it's because they have not healed. It's because they don't want to be rejected because of their boundaries. They don't want men dismissing them because of their boundaries. When you have not healed, you will completely lack boundaries. I like that verse in Proverbs that says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. But the thing is, even a person with no boundaries is like is like a city whose walls are broken through. And when the walls are broken through, that means like any and everyone can actually get through because there are no walls. There are no boundaries. There's nothing guarding and protecting you because you have not set any standards. You have not actually put anything in motion to protect yourself. Something else that healing is going to unlock, a generational reset. As I said earlier, think about the women coming after you. Think about your daughter, your future daughter, your stepdaughter, or whatever else. Think about your granddaughter, whatever. You model healthy love for your children and future generations. The cycle can literally end with you. Let's be real. The reason why a lot of us are enduring so many different things right now, and even if it's not just relationally or trauma speaking, it's because we are breaking generational cycles and curses. it's harder on us because we're doing the work that should have been done years and years ago. That's why it's so rough, right? Like we know that Jesus said, like in this life you are going to have trials, but a lot of us is kind of like, okay, Jesus, what's going on here? Like, where are you? I've been suffering long enough. It's because you are breaking cycles for the entire generation. And it's like, it's one of those things as well where it's like, I always say, Satan has access to your past. He knows the things that have tripped you up and your mom up and everything else, right? He has access to your past, but it's like once you actually decide, hey, I'm going to put an end to this. I'm going to make sure that I really do call down heaven, and what, I'm going to bind on earth what I bind in heaven and loose on earth what I loose. Like when we start doing those things for Satan, it's like, whoa, what does she think she's doing? So for him, it's like, now I got to throw these fiery darts even more. He's going to go out of his way to distract you or to get you to repeat things. No. When you get serious about your healing and breaking certain chains, it is going to unlock a generational reset. And the last thing that is going to unlock is something that's near and dear to me because it's one of the intentional dating skill sets that I teach my ladies in New Heart Academy: discernment. When you heal, you're going to have a level of discernment that is out of this world. You are going to be able to actually recognize when a man is aligned with you versus when he is just entertaining you. Because too many of you are getting excited because a man is simply entertaining you. He is not aligned and he is not serious about you. He is entertaining you, and there's something about you that's also entertaining him. But when you have discernment, you're going to be able to say like, hey, this is not rubbing me the right way. My spirit is not settled in this area. You are going to know when to walk away. It is time for you to heal for real. It is time for you to heal before you're happily ever after. And what I want you to do over these next few moments, take some time to just reflect. Reflect on who taught you what love should look like. Do you have a healthy idea of what love should look like? What kind of love did you see growing up? Was there love that was modeled for you growing up? What did you learn about love, even just based off the relationship between your mother and father? Or maybe based off what one of them told you the relationship was like. Maybe, if one of them passed away or something like that, or whatever the case might be. But who taught you what love should look like? Go a little bit deeper and then ask, was it healthy or was it harmful? Was it healthy or was it harmful when you think about who taught you what love should look like? After you do that and sit with that for a moment, I want you to imagine walking into dating with peace instead of anxiety. Imagine recognizing red flags the moment they pop up instead of ignoring them. Imagine finally feeling worthy enough to wait for God's best. See, that's what healing will unlock within you, all right? If it's tugging at your heart and you're ready to go deeper, then this is your confirmation. It is time to heal. It's time to stop the trauma. Because in the upcoming workshop, we are going to go deeper, all right? We go deeper than just talking. No, we're going to be uncovering the roots. We're going to confront the patterns. We are going to break the cycles. And I'm going to ensure that I personally give you the tools to move forward. I've mentioned before this workshop, and especially if you've done it with me, then you already know. This is not about surface level encouragement. This is not just a feel-good message where, almost like a training video, or I'm just kind of throwing scriptures and hoping that it inspires you. No, it is a workshop. It is chain-breaking work, complete with your trauma journal and everything, like making sure that you truly get what is needed so that you can be free. The best part is only $49, okay? Also, No More Lonely Nights. If you have not grabbed that already, do that. That book coaches you from the beginning to the end when it comes to healing and trauma and things like that. And for those of you who already have it, if No More Lonely Nights is your workbook, then Stop the Trauma Workshop is going to be your classroom. It's like the book helps you dig deep, but the workshop is going to give you the experience and the strategies to actually shift. Truth be told, you probably need both of them. because they both are transformational in many different ways. Both are available at the site www.thenewlovecollective.com/STT to register for the workshop, and you can just go to the shop to get the ebook or an autographed copy. But listen, I want to ensure that you don't let another year go by with the same patterns, the same tears, the same prayers. It's time to do the work. It's time to heal before you're happily ever after, all right? I want to make sure that you decide you are going to be in the room for Stop the Trauma, because your future deserves a healed version of you, all right? Know that I am rooting for you as always.